Hello and welcome to Spitfire, episode 22, season 2. And it's an episode that we've been thinking about for a little while, but we needed to wait for the majority of the announcements because I think we're still missing one, but it's basically by being the odd one out anyway. So here's how this is going to go. Before I even get to Rab being here, because I have to explain all of this. It's quite complicated. So we have a document at the moment with about 1,000 million billion numbers in, and that isn't, over exaggeration at all. Basically, what we are going to do is we are going to rank the franchises on a variety of topics. Topics we will go through and talk about in greater context as we go through, but here's roughly what they are. Some serious, some just a little bit of fun. Roster strength. This is obviously talking about how strong we think the current roster is. Branding. Do we like the name? Do we like the logo? Essentially. How good was their announcement? Pretty obvious. I mean, that one. How good was their announcement?
It was quite a hotly contested topic. So
it is.
I thought we'd throw it in.
Now we get a little bit silly. Which roster is the strongest? And you might think this is the same as roster strength, but it isn't. We want to know who we think is the actual physically strongest team at, lifting stuff, moving. Because that's just in there. We want to know, who's got the most muscles.
This is what we are.
Obviously, that's a detraction. But that is that. Who is the team with the most muscles? It's a muscles one. That one. Most likely to stick together. That's an interesting one.
That's a good one.
It's going to cause some controversy as we go through, without any shadow of a doubt. And then we have best looking team. Who is the team with the most attractive people on it? Who is the team where they get all the model shots coming out and going to hire a good photographer? And who's the ones who maybe not so photogenic? That's going to be one that's definitely going on Twitter as well.
Who's not the hottest?
Team is not going to be happy about that one. The other one is content strength. It's an interesting one because there isn't a ton of content come out, so we weren't 100% certain on the topic, but we will cover it. The other one is most chips. Obviously, there is a mathematical formula for this one for previous. We're talking about who we think is going to get the most wins throughout the year. It kind of overlaps with roster strength a little bit, but
a little bit. I think you can. We'll get to it when we get there.
Yeah, and then we go off the reservation again with best dressed. Which team dresses the best outside of? The funny thing is here, all the serious ones, no pros will say anything about. All the other ones, we're going to get in serious trouble. Yeah. But allow me to introduce the rest of this now. Of course, I'm Bryce, and I'll be trying to bring you through the topics here. The man who's going to try and get all this into graphic form for you, if you are watching this on the live show on Twitch or on the VOD on YouTube, is going to be Chris Tunn. So if he looks stressed and you hear his keyboard going, that's his fault.
I've got my Call of Duty League staff t-shirt on. I'm ready to work.
But more importantly, to help kind of take us through and break down some of these teams, the Tactical Rab, how are you?
What's good, mate? You always say more importantly for me. I don't know if it actually is more important or not.
I say
for everybody.
Plays a more important role.
If you watch the show, Rab, you know that I say it every single time because the guests are more important.
Yeah, I appreciate it, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're doing good. See if Tom can keep up today. The last one we did was
the draft show. This should be easier than that. But what I will say is the draft show was it was stressful to a different point. I would say I was filling in I think it was 10 different boxes within 30 seconds. I had to do it based on these guys actually putting in. The draft show was a mess. Actually, no. To be fair, I'll give myself a little bit of credit. I don't think it was that much of a mess. I think I did okay with the draft show. This should technically be a breeze. It should.
Okay.
Fair enough.
We're back.
Tanya, I don't know if it's just a little bit loud for me, or is that the usual thing where it get one into Zoom and one into the broadcast software? Because you're a little bit loud.
I am looking fine on broadcast. About the same as you.
Okay. All right. That sounds good then. Because I checked one before. All right. Let's go through now that we've had all of our announcements, more or less. These are the confirmed 12 teams for the Call of Duty League 2020. Atlanta FaZe, the Chicago Huntsmen, Dallas Empire, the Florida Mutineers, the London Royal Ravens, the LA Guerrillas, the Minnesota Rocker, I still don't know how to say that. The New York
I'm not gonna do it
Subliners, Optic Gaming LA, the Paris Legion, Seattle Surge, and Toronto Ultra. All right, let's kick this off as we kind of go through. And I think the most important one that we have to talk about straight away is roster strength, because this is one that gets a little bit. How do we put this? It gets a little bit kind of convoluted in some ways, and the reason for that is people saying, "Oh, what you base it on last game? How can you base it on last game? Can you base it on this game?" It's very subjective in terms of what sample size you're taking, Rap. Where do you kind of what sticks out for you?
It's tough. I mean, like, as you say, it's very difficult. Like, obviously, there's a few teams which you'd consider to be like up there in terms of raw talent, and I think it's a very interesting question. Like, that's why I think the Atlanta FaZe team is the most interesting question, because there's some people who say, like, outright, this will be the best team in the game. They have the best talent. They have the most talent. They'll put it to the best use. I think that when you consider Crowder being their coach, I think that could be a really pretty big deal for them, because I really do think that some experience and some veteran talent on your team is really important. Maybe that can work in a coaching role as well. My kind of opinion is that the best teams this year will be the teams that have the mix of both, because I think you need that kind of talent and those kind of players that have done it all before in this game, especially. Maybe Black Ops 4, you could get away with it a little bit more, but composure is going to be key. So really the teams I'm putting up there are those that have a mix of younger guys and that have a lot of talent, that showed it in Black Ops 4, and people have done it all before, and not only have done it all before, but have also been very good on boots on the ground games typically. Like, I think those are the best teams, the likes of Dallas, Chicago spring to mind first, Optic LA as well. So
yeah,
I think those are maybe the main three in my mind.
Yeah. See, here's the thing, right? Now, obviously, I know the podcast did a similar thing last week where they put them into tiers. But this is the curious part for me. If I remember correctly, they were very unhappy with Paris Legion. They thought they were the worst team on paper by far. And you know what? Being perfectly honest, probably on paper, yeah. But this is the entire point of it. We can only use sample sizes we have, right? As far as we know, Paris Legion could technically be the best team next year. We could go into a season where they win absolutely everything. Problem is, educated guesses and you know, a history of knowing these players and how many chips they've won and everything else says maybe not. You know, it's one of these ones where we don't give everybody the benefit of the doubt, because we don't have to. We can only go on what sample we have, and that's why I probably would put them in last.
I think it's hard to argue against that. They've got players in there who are on the amateur side of things. With Mindfreak last year, they don't. I don't know if it's harsh to say that they don't really have a standout superstar. I think Zed had a decent year. Would I call him Zed a superstar? No. I think, I think that's fair. I like Zach, but I don't think many people will put him in that category. That's where it stands for me. At the moment, they don't. I think, people like Brezzy, people like Kismet potentially have a chance to be there. Kismet's a very solid player. We know that Luca is still growing as a player as well. They have potential to be good, but there's nothing guaranteed with that team, I feel.
That's the thing, right? Like, you look at this team and you see, okay, like Luca, Shox, Dens, Kismet, Phantom, Zed, Breezy, these guys, like, there's upset potential here is what you'd typically say about this team. But then you think, okay, there's actually only 12 teams, and a lot of these teams are pretty damn stacked. Like, even the ones on the lower ends, typically you would say, like, that's going to be a decent squad. But when you look at the context of the other teams, like, it's very difficult to say that these guys won't be bottom of the pack. Okay, not necessarily just bottom, but, around there. One thing to mention, I guess, is World War II. We had that red team, for example. Joe rated 0, Josh, and Scraps came in later in the year. Like, that's not a team going into the year that a lot of people would have said would have been, top 2, probably the best team not to win a championship that year, right? So there's definitely occasions, especially on the slower boots on the ground games, maybe it is more tactical, maybe it does require more game knowledge. The guys who really put their head down and grind, even if they don't have the best raw talent on paper, in a game like this, maybe that can work to their benefit. So as you say, Bryce, I don't think you rule things out this early, because we've seen in the past, especially first events of the year, right? First events of the year, Obviously, it's going to be a little bit of a time before we get to that, but probably the meta will change significantly, and the game is going to probably change significantly before January rolls around. And then we may have a completely different situation on our hands, and we may see some interesting early season results as we tend to, right? So
here's the thing, right? They've just brought on 2 coaches, Josh and Optu. Optu's probably gone way under the radar, but he has been coaching for a little while, just not with great results previously. But people who've worked with him like working with him. Josh, of course, B Sport's been around for a long time. Had a good run with War. It wasn't certain whether or not he was going to get in a spot this year. I know he wanted to move into coaching now. I thought that was really interesting. He said he wanted to do that. He's been developing players. And my issue always with that is I'm always thinking, Josh can't retire. He's still the young kid. He's still the young guy because he's been around so long. When I sort of kind of first saw him come in, he was the young gun. But here's the thing. We don't know this team. We don't know who's even starting on this team. And as somebody pointed out, lack of chips and previous history is difficult for people to kind of get behind.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the problem with it. But I think they don't have a bad setup though. I like what they did with their team. It wasn't necessarily like a 100% set 5. It was one of those things where they came in and there's a bunch of them, and there's nobody in particular I look in that roster and think he's the weakest or he's the strongest. They're all relatively similar sort of players, I would say, in terms of skill. To a point, they're in the same sort of bracket. So I think they've got the ability to chop and change. That's nice that they have that. But other than that, though, I don't think it's too harsh to say that they're the worst team on paper.
No, I think another team we want to talk about as well, Toronto Ultra, because there is a lot they've gone straight for a 10-man roster. By the way, the one thing I was going to say about Paris before we moved on, I completely forgot. They still have cap space. From what I understand. And it does mean that if they can find anybody coming through the system, bring them in, not have to pay the luxury tax, and see if they can make a difference. And I suspect that may be what they do. You start off, you try to figure some stuff out. Maybe there's some diamonds in the rough out there. And they don't have to worry about the luxury tax going forward. As far as I know, anyway. I don't know really too much.
I'm going to need you to fill your sheet in, by the way, here, Brycey.
I'm slowly doing it. We're still on the first topic.
I'm going to need you to do it. If you want graphics, I'm going to need you to do it.
No, well, we still need Benson to put his in, mate, so...
It's not going to happen. Ben's streaming right now.
Typical Ben. By the way, the only roster that hasn't actually been announced is the Florida Mutineers, but we can... The rumor is pretty good. It's pretty solid, because, there's not that many pros left outside the system, you know what I mean?
They've been scrimming together. Just
to very surprised.
Yeah, let's just confirm it for everybody who is... in the stream. I did actually have it up here. For the sake of this, we have it down as Frosty, Pristini, Skies, Mox, and Havoc.
Yeah.
For the sake of this.
Bang on the money. It's got to be. We've seen them in scrims now, all this stuff.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, I think seeing them in scrims, etc., sort of seals the deal.
I just don't know why it's taken so long. Like, that's what we've heard. Like, the Intel guy, Crony, was like, yeah, they're not going to be announcing anytime soon. I'm like, obviously there's behind the scenes stuff, but what? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah,
nothing that we can do.
No, there really isn't an awful lot we can do. Let's move on then, because we've got some of these to get through, and I've done my roster strength, so we'll move on to the next one here. And by the way, we won't announce anybody who's won or what positions they do until the end. Okay?
Oh, thank God.
that gives Tan a little bit of time to slowly make his graphics and get through it. Okay. Next topic, as we go through the roster, and we need to talk about every team in depth there. There are a few that are in the middle, but we'll kind of cover them as it goes on. Branding and logo. All right, now this is obviously going to be a little bit to do what people think is taste, but here's what we're going with. Right, so Atlanta FaZe, Chicago Huntsmen, Dallas Empire, the Florida Mutineers, the London Royal Ravens, LA Gorillas, the Minnesota Rocker, the New York Subliners, Optic Gaming LA, Paris Legion, Seattle Surge, Toronto Ultra. And we are basing these off of the name, the brand, and the colors. That's it. That's all this topic is. Rab, who do you think is who has got the best brand? Regardless of who's in it, regardless of where they're based, who has the best brand?
See, mine, I was torn between two. And those were the Dallas Empire and Seattle Surge. Those are personally my two favorite ones that I would put in like that. I'm not sold on any being like god tier brands, but those I would put comfortably like A tier, A+ tier kind of thing. in my
Okay.
for my money.
I would throw in the Mutineers. Or the Mutineers.
Mutineers were my third.
Absolutely love that logo. So good.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Davy Jones.
It's got that like Halo 3 MLG days sort of feel to it. If you like it, I mean, there is not many that will ever be as good as like Final Boss, etc. Like some of them were just so amazing, but like an Instinct and shit like that, it has a little bit more of a feel of that. Whereas some of them are just very plain. Whereas that's a bit more. There's a bit more to it. I like the Seattle Surge one as well, actually.
Yeah, I like that. Here's the thing. So also you got to judge the colors, right? Because like these will be the colors of all their branding, everything that goes out here, all their gear and everything. Dallas Ember, by the way, the logo, because it's so clean, and the people in here have got like it's already in.
It's from
I think
Tommy's,
and Clay's got it, but also it has the Envy thing going on, so because it's a legacy team, that's in the logo.
Yeah, that is cheeky.
And their colors are what? Black and gold.
They have a few color schemes like they're.
What is the color scheme of Dallas? So that's another issue. Like you have to understand.
Official.
Yeah, it seems like it's black and gold, right? Blue, black, and gold. That makes sense having the blue in there. But so, I mean, here's the colors, right, for all of these. Atlanta FaZe is obviously red. I don't know if it's red and white or whatever, but it's red. Is that solid color? The Chicago Huntsman, I'm guessing, is green for obvious reasons.
For the weird green.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't have all the official colors. There is somewhere with the official colors on them. I don't know whether it is. Actually, there's colors that put it in there, but it's got it under hashtags and I can't read them. So Chicago Huntsman's like green and it looks like maybe like a brown or a yellow or a gold or something.
Yeah.
Then the Florida Mutineers is what, teal and red and blue, I'm guessing.
It's like, is that orange or am I?
Oh, it looks red to me.
That's the eternal question.
Yeah. But I mean, here's the thing: like the London Royal Ravens is what, white, black, and red, or red, white, and blue. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff they put out. I mean, their logo is black, so
yeah, it depends.
Black with a red eye.
Versions of their logo. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, the logo always to me is going to look like it's a pre-evolved Imperium logo.
Well, that's what I always.
Warhammer 40k. Every time I see it, I'm thinking it's the Imperium.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I for all I'm a fan of London, I put their logo on last. I think it's a bit too simple for me. I think it's a bit too simple. I think
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just because of what every single time I say it, it's just the Raven, like the outline of the Raven, and it's like you could have had, like I said this last week, you could have had like a really like cartoony Raven sketch, like a mean looking bird. But
it's clean. I don't mind clean. I don't mind clean,
but it's borderline boring for me.
I'd be more upset with the Ravens about the fact it's called Royal. I like London Ravens, but I'm guessing they don't do it to go with the Ravens in America. Or the London Royal, maybe something there, but it's clean. I think you can do a lot with a clean logo. So I wouldn't overrank it for that. I like it. Although it's got a little red eye I've seen in this now. I don't know if that's actually supposed to be in there. I didn't know if it was.
Yeah, the red eye is kind of like the saving grace for me. I do find it kind of dull. Like I don't think the logo is great. The brand, the idea of the Ravens, I do quite like. I think the folklore behind it is cool. The sixth Raven thing is cool. So I don't think it's the worst brand by any means. It's something I can get behind. It's just not raving about it.
Not raving about it.
That's terrible. That is actually terrible.
Get that on the book.
Some of the others are interesting. I think the worst logo is the LA Guerrillas, and I tell you what, I'll explain why. First of all, if you didn't know the name of that, you'd never know what that brand was in a million worlds.
You're very right. You're very right.
And also, it reminds me of an old prophecy.
Yes, it is a little bit like that, isn't it? I think like with LA Guerrillas, it's not like a gorilla, like as in, the
but here's the
animal.
Thing, like I said, right? London Royal Ravens, you Chris, I like London Royal Ravens because it's simple and clean, right? That's a clean logo you can put on loads of stuff. The LA Guerrillas, I still don't really know what that's supposed to be. Their hashtag is hoods up.
What I will say is that like places like London, places like LA, places like New York will really struggle to come up with team names because of, the fact that there's so many different, obviously sports teams, etc. that you can't like just steal the name. There's only so many names you can probably come up with. Like, what would you have chose for London? Top of your head.
London? Oh, I don't know.
Actually, it's just quite hard. The London Lions or some shit.
London Crusaders.
Yes, there'll be loads of places. LA, you could have. I mean, if you wanted to go Gorillas, you couldn't. I presume there's an LA Gorillas of some sort. But I just, yeah, there's loads of different teams, different sports, etc. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I think London Royal Ravens one maybe not the best on this list. I really do like it. The LA Gorillas I think suffers from. I just don't connect with that brand. Like the rest of them are very clean. I think the problem is it looks like an old Prophecy logo, and I can't get over that. The LA Gorillas looks like the old school Prophecy logo before they rebranded to that like ball of swirling ink or whatever it was. So I struggle with that one.
These superb.
I think a lot of people. Let's talk about the Chicago Huntsman. People were upset with the Chicago Huntsman logo. I'm sorry, people weren't entirely enthused.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay, but that's it. I think the thing is that everyone sees hexes behind it. Everyone thinks of the original Optic logo, etc., and thinks, you know what, Hex is clearly a designer, and he's just going to come on with this logo, albeit a very good graffiti artist. But you know, I think it's just a case of everyone sort of expected it to be top level, but it's all right. You know, I think it's forgettable. It's two axes, like for the most part. You know what I mean?
I mean, Huntsman is fine. Like the name, I think is fine. I think there's quite a lot of things you can do with that.
But then you think, do you think that the Activision would have stopped them having a weapon in their logo or something like Huntsman? Do you think you could have bought an arrow?
Technically, Shadow Soldier's got a trident. It is a trident.
Yeah, I know, but it's not a real weapon, is it? I mean, it's not a gun.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting point.
Neither's an axe.
It's a bit.
Actually, yeah, to be fair.
Like that thing, I don't know if you saw it on Reddit today. It was like don't mess with the Midwest like T-shirt design or something, and it had two crossed axes on it. Nothing to do with the Huntsman, but it almost.
Oh, was that not to do with the Huntsman?
Yeah, it wasn't.
No.
I looked it up.
Oh,
Nothing
shit.
to do with them, right?
I know, but there's only so many different angles you can have an axe to show it's an
No,
axe.
it was literally the Huntsman logo.
It was
the
quite
Huntsman
similar.
logo.
It was quite similar.
But yeah, I mean,
I don't know. See, for me. I can split it into two, but if you're going to talk about Chicago Huntsman, where do you put Optic Gaming? Because technically, Optic Gaming is a very established brand. Like that's the difficult part for me. I'm trying to figure out where to Optic because technically, if you're budgeting it on as a brand, and Optic Gaming obviously is a massive brand, you know, apart from the Green Wall basically fighting itself at the moment. But I don't know how to judge Optic, so I don't know. I might genuinely just put them in the middle.
I put them like 8th. I don't feel any particular way about it now. I feel like if they were in a bit of a shit spot because they change the logo, they get slaughtered. They don't change the logo, nobody really associates them with that logo.
That's the issue. Really.
Yeah, it's
like you don't associate the company.
It was like a double-edged sword for them. Yeah.
So like that's why I don't put them particularly high because it's like that brand has stock in terms of its typical sense of what Optic stands for, but it doesn't have stock in the community the same way it did. Like the stock it has right now is negative, right? Yep. There's no getting away from that. So at least at the current time, I can't say that's a particularly strong brand because all it's attracting is not all it's attracting, but a lot of what it's attracting is negativity. So for me, and nothing's changed about it. So I think a lot of the things that were behind the old Optic brand were, I mean, it was the fans, right? The Green Wall made the brand. So if that's not the case, then difficult to make an argument that it's still a solid. So yeah, bottom half of the pack, I would say.
As a boomer, I have a lot of friends who got into Cobalt Optic and FaZe. None of them will have any idea about Optic being sold. That's fair. I think we haven't talked about Atlanta FaZe either. You know, they've come over, legacy team. But
they changed it a little bit. But
I like the AF. I really like the AF. It allows you to still keep the phase up thing and all that sort of stuff going through. I thought that was a great way to kind of do it. But I mean, covering some of the rest of these, like the New York Subliners, right? I'm 50-50 on the actual team name, but I really like the logo for some reason.
So that's interesting to me.
You're one of the only ones.
I like it. I understand why. I like the logo. I like the blue and the yellow. I think it's interesting. It's different. And I'm going to know, if I see that logo about, I'm going to know that's the Subliners.
That's fair enough. I mean, that makes sense. I'm just like, do I don't know. I get it. It's all subjective at the end of the day, I guess. Like, do I want that on a t-shirt? Like, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. It hasn't really sold it to me. And the New York, I don't know whoever owns the New York Subliners team. They have the same thing going on with the Excelsior and Overwatch, like some mad trippy lines and stuff.
I think it's the New York problem of actually getting a patent. Just kind of.
Yeah, probably that is part of it. Yeah. Just think the colors are weird. Does that scream New York to you? I don't know.
I don't know what color scream New York to you. Grey.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's true.
Statue of Liberty green.
Yeah.
They should have been the grey and green, but like a pale coppery green.
Yeah, that's true. It's a fair point. I guess I'm putting enough thought into it, but maybe I'm on the wrong end of the stick here.
People saying they think that New York has the worst name.
It's not a great name, I don't think.
I think they're going with it, but I still like the logo. Minnesota obviously have gone with the Viking heritage roots, big old Viking helmet on there. I mean, they've basically just gone, yeah, we are owned by the Vikings. Yeah, it's fine.
Which I'm fine with. Which I'm absolutely fine with.
Like,
I don't think you can be mad at
I
it.
don't mind it.
Their colours, though, I'm guessing are like deep purple and light blue, similar to the blue on the Mutineers.
Let's have a look at this again.
So I've got it up. While we're talking about that, Paris Legion, they've announced now they are going to go orange and red. And I think people were very unhappy with how simple the logo was on those colours. I think the colours are fine. It doesn't really, because there's a lack of, well, there's not a lack of red. There is some red in here, the Ravens and Atlanta, but nobody's really gone orange.
Yeah, I think I forgot what their logo is called. It's the Fleur. What's it? Rab, you're smart.
I would say it's the Fleur de Lis, but I don't know if that's exactly the way you say it.
Yeah, how do I pronounce this? Someone will know in the chat. Someone corrected me on a video, so I don't want to say it wrong anymore.
Fleur de Lis. No.
Something like that.
I don't know. Whatever.
So yeah, I'm all right with that. It's very French.
Yeah, it is, exactly. I quite like it, to be honest. I'm kind of down.
Paris should have blue in it. There's a lot of blue, though. Blue's a very popular colour for this.
Yeah. I think something to stand out is never a bad thing.
No, I don't think so. I also think a lot of the times what you want to do with brands, I can't remember where I saw this on documentary or something, is just a single standout colour. Because you can literally have, it's the only time I believe, and this is going to be horrifically wrong, a colour cannot be patented except by a brand in that particular area. So say like, I don't know, for instance, FaZe is red, right? If people identified that shade of red with FaZe, they could have a patent on it, but only in that specific, like esports and content regardless like that. It would be a very specific thing if it was a identifiable shade of red. So it's an interesting thing for this, but I don't think any of them going for it. I mean, Dallas Empire, I said they seem to be gold. I don't know if it's just because of the thing I've got up here, but we haven't spoken about the pinks. Toronto Ultra.
Is it pink?
It's interesting. I mean, I would call it purple.
Yeah,
but,
it's purple.
Or violet. It's not. Is it really violet?
Yeah, maybe
it's
violet.
magenta.
No, it's not quite magenta.
Christ.
There's another one I'm looking
Is
for.
it mauve?
Yeah, mauve. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. I haven't used that word in years. I kind of liked it when it came out. It's just I'm getting mixed messages from this brand, right? Because we talked last week about the old the ultras fuck like shirts and all that branding, which is kind of cool. I know you like that, Bryce.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's great.
When they came out with their initial branding, they did this whole like Canadian kill them with kindness kind of like kind of vibe, which just I don't know. It just seems contradictory. I think go down one route or another. I don't mind either route. It's just interesting. It's not one of my favorites. I kind of like the purple though. And then the Rocket came out with it as well. And I'm like, which one do I prefer?
Yeah, I can see. I think Toronto Ultra's logo is a bit hit or miss for me. I can't decide whether or not I like it because I don't know what. I don't know. Why has it got these like...
What? That's a good point. What is it?
I get the U, but then why is it like... Why is it like got like snot on the top right hand? But why has somebody put two bogies on it?
Yeah. That's what it's
oh my God, it is a squirrel.
With 2 ears and then a tail, yeah. But it's like back to front almost. I would have put the squirrel the other way. I don't know.
Why is it a squirrel? Is it supposed to be a squirrel?
Yeah, 100%. That's their branding, mate. It's strange.
Are you?
Okay.
Wait, I haven't said. Are you serious? It's supposed to be a
I'm
squirrel.
not taking the piss. They did like a video on their Twitter ages ago. It was some weird bait for their upcoming branding, and it was just a squirrel like walking across the screen for 8 seconds, like a man in a squirrel suit. It wasn't actually a squirrel, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not.
See, I have to mark Toronto Ultra down as well because they didn't use All Might to announce it. That would have been great if he'd gone plus Ultra. That would have been fantastic. Too much purple in these brands. There's a few bits of purple, but there's no more than anything else. Is there an overriding theme? Also, please bear in mind they've definitely all like spoken to each other about what colors, or it's all gone through Activision or whatever.
Yeah, it would all had to go through Activision, 100%.
Yeah, because there's only like a few of each. It's no one theme dominating this, which is good. I think. I wonder if there was a fight backstage, like, yeah, I want red. No, you can't have red. Well, there's too many reds now. You can't have it.
I wouldn't want to fight Hastro for anything. He's a big guy. He's a big guy.
I know this is off topic, and do you ever remember? There's a video somewhere. I don't know if anyone can find it, but there's a video saying and basically Hastro wanting to beat me up. Have you ever seen this video?
No.
Yeah. So there's a. I want to say it's at X Games. I think Deserto asked them, and they were asking Hastro various questions. And one of the questions they asked him about which member of the Call of Duty talent would you like to beat up? And Hastro's answer was me. Not because he disliked me. I actually get along really well with Hastro, but because and I remember it was something along the lines of because then the other talent would know. Can't fault his reasoning. Can't fault his reasoning. No, that is. I just thought I'd mention that as you say you don't want to mess with Hastro.
Bracey, out of all the talent now, who do you want to fight the most? Oh, I know the answer already. Phil. Has to be Phil.
That's gotta be me.
Has to be Phil.
No, I don't think so.
Has to be
He's
Phil.
got another one. Oh.
Maybe Ant or Pac-Man. They just talk a lot.
Oh.
I feel like
we don't need to get any podcast beef
it's
here.
not even about that. Those two are the most confident people you'll ever meet.
And can't help himself.
I want to see them be a little bit less confident if we had to get into a ring.
Oh.
I think that'll be entertaining.
The miner just said Bryce said he was about to say Katie. Oh wow, that would be hilarious.
Spark him out.
I think she beat the shit out of you.
Bryce, it wouldn't be fair though because I'm considerably bigger than the pair of them.
Oh baby.
Anyway, that's going to be clipped and sent to them, so we'll see how that goes down. Let's move on because we're starting an argument with the podcast for literally no reason. Let's move on to announcements. Let's talk about the announcements from these teams.
I mean, I know some people didn't like the Huntsman one.
First of all, I'm putting 12th as Seattle.
Was the Seattle one that bad?
No, not Seattle. Who am I? I'm thinking of the wrong team.
Yeah, I was like London.
Wrong.
Obviously.
No. The Mutineers.
They haven't even announced yet. Okay, that's why I did.
There you go. I'm just putting them straight down.
A bit unfair on Seattle.
Why was I thinking Seattle? Why was I thinking Seattle?
Sea, mate. The ocean.
Wait. Infinity put the Mutineers as number 7. They haven't even announced the team yet, pal.
I don't know.
Come on,
Go on, Brody.
How are you putting them as 7? Infinity?
Maybe he's chatting.
Because maybe he's like, well, it's middle ground because it might be good. We just don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Bit of a strange decision.
Fair enough.
Let's start off with the positive.
Oh, Brandon, that's okay. Fair enough.
Okay.
Let's start off. In fairness, we haven't finished yet, so you have access to the document. Feel free to jump in. Best announcement.
Whoa.
Best announcements. And we're talking about player announcements. We're talking about the brand announcement. Everything.
I like the Huntsman. It was all done in one, and I just like the whole vibe behind it. As of the fuck you optic. Yeah, you'll never have what we have.
I don't know if I like that angle.
I like that.
Don't get me wrong. As a big fan of like Hex in Chicago, I was like, yeah. But I was like, the announcement is essentially fuck optic. This is the announcement of fuck you optic, essentially.
It was pretty mental, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can 100% get on board with that. You know,
I can absolutely get on board with that. just give me all the beef between orgs. Give it to me all. I put Atlanta Phases 3rd because I was casting in it. That's the only reason.
Oh man.
So self-centered. Yeah. It's all about
now,
me.
I know I've noticed here on the I think a lot of people kind of agree with this. They've put London low, and I can understand why. I do think London slightly redeemed themselves with a 6 Raven kind of video. It wasn't amazing.
Yeah, that was my opinion. Like,
it wasn't the worst.
It started off bad.
Oh my god! I did say someone should be fired over it.
I don't even know if they had anyone to fire that was doing it, to be honest.
I think that was the thing. They just hired instead.
Anyone doing that.
Someone accidentally put down bloody Waskins as the content director instead of player.
Yeah.
Like, just film the video on your phone, mate. You'll be fine.
Me of that video, man.
But I think they
the hype and the bait and like Scraps like was rumored to be elsewhere, and then like were they playing together? What's the situation? Then just some shitty video on Ruskin's iPhone.
I think the annoyance is that they could have done something great. They could have had them, and I know there was like stuff around visas and stuff, but they could have just brought them all to London and like just see Scraps like standing next to Big Ben, just looking on.
Yeah,
into the distance.
There's so much potential.
No, I do know that some of them was like waiting on visas and stuff like that, so they had to be in America and things like that. So there's that, but
no,
it doesn't
negative.
excuse
we go straight
it.
to the negative ones. People didn't like Paris's one either.
Yeah, because they were using clips from like fucking years ago. Like, I don't know. It was a bit.
The announcements were a bit strange. I don't know.
I think New York's wasn't good.
Yeah. Oh my god! Like
because
the audio quality on some of them, and like.
Well, it was just because the London one happened, the bad one happened. It got criticized. And then the New York pretty much just did the same. It was just like, oh.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
That was the thing. It was just one player in front of the camera just talking about welcome to the Unbox family or whatever. Like it was basically just kind of a sponsorship plug rather than introducing the player to some degree. I don't know. I felt that there was more that could have been done there for sure. What's the other one? Like the Gorillas as well is an interesting one, I think, because the videos they did were quite good. I kind of like the angle they're going for against like the anti-optic stuff. Like every single one of the players they introduced, they had clips of them like taking down optic and all this stuff. But at the same time, like there was no consistent like messaging across the branding announcements. Like their announcement for the branding itself was just absolutely terrible. Like one day they just tweeted out the logo and were like #hoods up. Hoods up is quite good. I don't mind that. But like, what's the thought process here? Like, who actually is running these accounts? I don't know.
Here's an interesting one. Minnesota
did.
I tell you why they score high for me. They did a lot of vids being transparent coming out.
Yep.
Like we're going to build this facility. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. Here's an update. Here's another update. Here's another update. I like that. Don't get me wrong. Videos could have been a little bit better. I thought a bit more polished, but the content was coming out. It wasn't bad. Like they announced it bit by bit. You know, here's what's coming for it. I don't know if my issue is juggling it between. Is it just the content around it, or is this all wrapped up in an announcement? Because content-wise, I think they go quite high. Announcement-wise, what is the actual bang announcement? I think actually, if I remember it now, actually Minnesota's were pretty good. They had that 3 guys sitting on chairs.
Well, they had the first announcement for them. Like was absolutely class. Like they did it really well.
And
like,
I think they did it the day after London as well, though, didn't they? And that was the thing. And everyone was like, "Oh, that's how you do it," sort of thing as well. That's what sort of gassed it as well.
Okay, that's interesting. But like, yeah, I was impressed with their first one, and then it just kind of went downhill. Like the Asim announcement at or however you might have pronounced it. I don't know. People always say I say it wrong. Asim.
I've always said Asim. I think he said it's Asim. I think it's Asim.
I don't know. I've said it about 1,000 different ways. Well, casting.
All right. Well, anyway, like that video looked like it was edited on an iPhone. Like it wasn't. It kind of just the Minnesota quality just went downhill. But yeah, the branding and the podcast they're doing, like they're hitting the right notes. So they get a good score in my books. Good. Give them a good.
Okay.
Give them a good.
All right. On that note, let's move on here because I see almost all the votes are in. I don't know if we missed it. We probably did. Paris, I think we talked about. People didn't like Paris. We did talk about it, yeah.
We still got 7
LA,
more.
Quick mention, because I thought their actual announcement video for the team was straight fire, awesome editing. Like that was the best single video I've seen, but they didn't really have much to go along with it that made it. They didn't really have much else, but like that single video was great, to be fair to them.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on then to our first slightly jokey topic. What is the physically strongest team? If you needed a team to lift something off of you and you're pinned, which team would be the best at it? Obvious outlier here for a lot of people is Atlanta FaZe. I'm actually gonna put the Mutineers 12th again.
Simpson.
Actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna go
No. You have to go phases 12th, surely. The team is collectively the height of me. There is no way. They ain't lifting shit.
Toronto has 10, he says. Yeah, that's a fair point.
That is a fair point.
Can we go with like average or I don't know because
I think we go
subs.
average.
If we're counting all subs, you know, New York have got censor.
That is actually a good point. Yeah, I guess we just go main squad, right?
I think we include all of it, but maybe average it out a bit because New York does have.
That's why everyone's got one for New York.
Well, I'm filling out bloody.
We've got Douglas Interface. Yeah, I'm not
Don't
gonna
fill out the wrong persons.
Speak out of my mind.
Is there any other stronger than that? Who's the strongest team? Is it?
Well, let's have a quick thought process here. Like the Huntsman is not maybe, but Gunless could be a tank. Like there is that, you know.
Yeah, but is Scump? It's all about Scump's form. Because if you remember, there are two Scumps. There's like super skinny Scump who looks like he's never worked out his life, or the Scump who's been in the gym 2 months and looks like an athlete. That guy's got the most freakiest genetics I've ever seen on anybody. Starts just wastes away to now. We spoke about All Might earlier on. If you ever watched My Hero Academia, he is All Might. You know, breathes in, muscles everywhere, works out a bit, stops, skinny, like a skeleton. I don't understand. It's mental. But I don't know, man.
Minnesota started off decent, like GodRx and Silly, and then it kind of goes
that's a big strong team.
bit.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Like GodRx was posting videos of him lifting the other day.
He
was benching 100, but he does it. But I remember the last time I seen him, I thought he was like quite a skinny guy. I didn't even realize.
Off season is
obviously he's an absolute unit.
I think GodRx is a good shout.
New York, yeah.
I think Minnesota second. Actually, now I think about it, you know, Silly works out hard. Like, he's in good shape.
There's some big boys on that one, and then. Seattle, what are we thinking there? Apathy's potential unit.
Oh, App's got massive biceps.
Yeah.
So jealous of
well, you've been staring at them, have you?
Mate, I'll stare at Apathy's biceps all day long. That guy's a unit.
What else are we talking on this team? I don't know.
We've had some weird conversations on Spitfire, and I think this might be up there.
No, I love this. Let's go through them one by one because get this one done fairly quickly. Chicago Huntsman. What do we think?
Upper level.
Yeah, near the top, I would say.
Yeah, this is actually a big spread for them. No one really can be sure. Dallas Empire.
Questionable.
Who's on there? Clayster, Shotzi, Hugh Gilly, Crim.
Yeah, pretty low.
Mutex.
Pretty low. To be fair, I think Crim's got like that like dad strength. I don't know. You look at him, all right, and he's just got that.
Daddy Crim.
Oh, yeah,
honestly, that's true though. Like, if you like with his like the facial expressions he has, there's no way you can't lift.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking lift this heavyweight, etc.
The Mutineers we've spoken about. The London Ravens.
Oh, we didn't get to them.
Nah, man. Nah, they ain't lifting much, them boys.
I mean, they've got Mad Cat on there. Shawnee as well. I've actually worked out with both of those.
That's true. I do forget about the subs on that one.
That's true.
The rest of them, don't get me wrong. The Twins.
The Twins aren't lifted anyway.
I need to see a strength. If you're watching anyone from content team London Royal Ravens, take them to like a sports place, get them lifting. I want to see the lifting thing. I think KSI did something like that. He went to UFC. But they're training UFC thing, and they did all these like tests on where he is. I want to see that, but with the Ravens. But as for now, they're going in 10th. The LA Gorillas.
What are we thinking here? We got Saints, Lacefield.
Like Lace is a big guy.
Aqua, Aches. It's not great.
Lacefield's a big guy.
I feel like Saints could be a. I don't know. I feel like he could be a decent shout. To be fair to him. And then, like, don't know. What are we thinking there? I think that team's decent, actually, in terms of firepower.
I just realised I said Mad Cat, not rated. I meant rated. Rated's a big guy. Rated and Shawnee the big guys.
Yeah, Rated and Shawnee big boys, for sure.
That's what I meant. Fuck's sake. But fucking, like, those 6 players on London. Even with those 2, right? I don't know if Rated lifts, because he has been in the gym in and out. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not sure, man. He's got a girlfriend now. I'm not sure he's hitting the gym much. Thoughts?
Well, he was in the gym.
This conversation has gone downhill so much.
I don't know. LA Gorillas.
We're just trying to ignore it. I know,
Yeah,
ignore it.
Give it a 6, something like
fuck's sake, I don't know. Lacefield's a big guy.
just superb.
Yeah, he is. I don't know where to put him though. This is the problem. I can't now figure this out.
This is the thing. Outside of the obvious, it's hard. Outside of Doug and the Atlanta boys all being tiny, it's like
We chuck these in the random number generators, is what we do
Yeah.
for these. Optic LA, does Muddog count for that one? Guess he doesn't really.
No,
Nah,
he doesn't,
not
he doesn't,
really.
he
No,
doesn't.
no.
I mean, can't imagine though.
Yeah, come on, we'll fly through this one, Bryce. You don't need to think about it too much.
Well, I can't figure it out. I'm trying to figure out how big these guys are, and I'll be honest with you, I've never really like figured it out.
Of course. Bryce, he's just
Paris Legion.
sizing them up like who could I out bench?
It's like, yeah.
Trying to
Having
figure
a
out where I
really
put
good
them.
thing.
Because now I've got looking at the Paris Legion, and I'm thinking those aren't big guys.
No.
Maybe I should have put them lower.
Man, what a
Oh, you're thinking about it too much.
I am thinking
Yeah.
about it too much.
wouldn't it
Who's
be
going in
absolute
ninth? Who's got? Oh,
dreadful if
Dallas
we've got
Empire
the
put ninth.
strongest
I'm going to
physically?
put the Legion eighth. Legion eighth. Optic LA.
They're gonna prove you wrong now, mate.
I put Optic LA far too far down. But saying that though, Optic LA
just
have
day cap.
fucking
Hasn't Cap been working out in the off season?
run
Cap-
through
Cap-
it, mate. Yeah,
Cap's
Cap's solid, like
Cap's a big lad.
100%.
But Kenny's not.
Kenny's not. Slasher, I feel like is a bit.
I've definitely put Optic LA far too long.
And then like I don't know.
I've got him in the upper half.
He's
Swap these
launching
around. That was very dumb.
one man team.
I've got LA Gorillas and Toronto Ultra left. Then we can
Wait.
move on.
Big has just said Toronto have Banser to GG. What?
Bance is massive. What are you trying?
He's tall, but he's not. He's not like jacked.
Yeah, but they've
Yeah.
got big boy. They've got Cammy MVP. They got.
He's got that Scottish Highland strength.
It's over, mate.
I missed out a number, and then we can move on. 1, 2, 3,
Marky B as
4,
coach.
5.
7.
Bance is like
7.
7 for-
There we go.
Yeah, I
See,
think
I'm trying to see who's winning now. Oh shit! There is an obvious winning team.
There's a
It's
very
not
obvious
It's not even
winning
close.
team.
It's not even close.
I'm
Right,
filling these in now.
let's move on.
Easy.
Most likely to stick together.
Cool.
I'm not entirely certain on this topic. You know,
This is an interesting one. I think Ton Shout is good because this is quite tough, to be honest. I think the Dallas Empire should be up there as well because I'm thinking through their subs right now because I guess the subs are the most likely people that come into the starting roster, I guess. I'm thinking, okay, Clay, Krim, Hukili, Shotzi, like, I don't know. They seem pretty humble right now. They seem like guys that Krim can get along with and that they're happy to listen to him. And that's kind of all they want, right? And in terms of subs, like being in the position to, I don't know how we're considering this in terms of like if you make a substitute change, is that like, I don't know. I guess maybe that's not switching up the roster or whatever. But I guess if you change out one player like permanently for a substitute, then that is kind of changing the roster. So I don't know if that counts under the stick together thing. But yeah, Dallas have got to be up there for me. FaZe, I think, is a good shout as well, given that Crowder being there as coach. I don't know. Apart from that, there's some teams you can just see imploding quite quickly, like the Chicago Huntsmen with Gunless. How long can that last? I don't know. I'm not convinced.
that's actually quite low. Some people put that low. Some people put that quite high. It's a curious one because essentially what we're guessing here is how toxic are the team.
Yeah.
I think you have to measure it on like that. Have we known personalities in the past to have arguments, and have we? If that's not the metric, then the other metric is when do we think people will have a roster change?
Yeah, I mean, the Optic one's a good shout as well. I've seen with the whole like Dashi or does he even want to be there? Like X was talking about that on Twitter a couple of days ago, like, you know, saying to Slasher, your team doesn't even want to play together. Subliners as well, like with Temp on the team, if things start going sour, there's the potential that it just falls apart. That's happened in the past. Maybe the Surge, I don't know how. Surge is an interesting one for me because they've got so many old guys on their team. Like, okay, old is, okay, 25, but like, you know what I'm saying? Old as hell time. You could sub in for them. But yeah, like, it's interesting because, okay, super cool-headed guys. So I guess you'd say on one side they should sit together, but at the same time I look at this team and I'm like, you know, do we not need some young, fresh talent in here? I don't know. So it's interesting. It's really tough to say this early on. I think, as you say, Bryce, like the best way to look at it is how toxic are they going to be on paper, because we can't really predict results this early, and results obviously will dictate a lot of the changes.
Yeah, I mean, the toxic thing is one factor. The other factor I'm looking at here, as I try to fill this in desperately and rack my brain, is who do I think maybe. How good is the team going to be? And it sounds like a weird kind of subject for that, because I think if a team does badly out the gate, they're going to try and make a roster change or a sub change or try to bring people in. But here's the thing. So technically, Toronto Ultra could be quite high because they've got 5 subs. So that team shouldn't really change about, because they can technically change out their entire starting roster if they want to, but it's still technically the same team. Do you get that logic? Like that is technically how it could work, because taking out subs isn't breaking the team up.
Yeah.
So theoretically, Toronto could have the very best, because they have the ability to change everybody in but still have the same team.
Okay, I'll take maybe a little bit of flack for this for the topic on this one, maybe for the category.
I said that.
I don't work at the esports awards like some people.
It's that next week, isn't it?
It's difficult. I'm actually going to skip this one. I don't like it.
Most likely to stick together.
You're
skipping it?
I'm skipping it.
Okay. Well, I will fill it out with how everybody else has filled it out.
Okay, you do that one. Next one, we go into another one where we're going to judge players.
This is a good one, boys.
The best looking roster. Which roster has the guys that look fantastic?
All right, let's do some thinking here. Whew. I mean, London have got Jerd. Maybe.
Oh, that's a good shout. Straight in there. Beautiful Jerd.
What I will say, sorry, before we do go on to best looking, most likely to stick together is super close. It's super close. Like, there is no, because we've been working on a point system that, you rank it first to 12th, and obviously the one with the most points is the lowest, ranked, because they are ranked 12th so many times. The most that anybody has is 48. Huntsmen are last, but then other than that, it is really, really quite low. It's really close between everybody. So that either tells me that everybody just doesn't know, or it's a case of it could be anybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
So a lot of people in the topics are saying they think maybe Optic Gaming.
Asu's not a bad shout. That one.
We just, because I want to go into specifics of who's beautiful and who's not. But so we'll just judge it as roughly.
Toronto with the Spaniards. It's not a bad shout. Seattle have got Apathy, but
looking guy.
Karma. It's tough, this one, boys.
Oh, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I don't want. They're all beautiful. They're all beautiful. Every single one of them is beautiful.
Who
did I put first? Oh, I put Paris Legion. Denz's a good-looking fella.
Oh, shoot.
I didn't even think of that. He does look like a model, doesn't he?
Got a French bloke on there. Got Zach Zadenya,
Optic LA, a good-looking squad for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part. Who knows? Hey, the subliners are a contester here. Dylan attaches. He may not be a manly looking fella. He's got a good complexion.
All these. Oh, by the way, if any of these really wanted to win, they would have picked up Dave, but they didn't.
Well, that's what I was thinking while I was doing it.
That would have gone better.
Oh, actually, yeah, it should really be New York. They got Zoomer as well. I forget about fucking.
Yeah, no, Zoomer. Yeah. It's got to be up there for sure.
A lot of people. So here's the thing. So we consider the results coming in live. Somebody's got Chicago Huntsmen. Chicago Huntsmen are quite low, but there's a few quite higher than them. Whereas Daz Empire's a little bit lower. I don't know.
It's interesting, mate. I mean,
it's interesting, but also the most subjective thing I've ever seen in the world.
Yeah,
I'm out here trying to figure out the most attractive player from each team.
You got to weigh it up there. You got Envoy on Chicago. That's not bad.
Is this what we dropped to on the show?
This is not done as well as I was thinking. I'm just hoping to fill these ones out now a little bit. I know it's my topic, but sometimes we have to experiment. We've been doing 50 episodes. Technically, nothing really has changed since last week. This is why, by the way, this is another tangent. This is something I'm genuinely hoping to do. At some point, we do want to get on teams, all of the 12 teams, like having at least 3 of the players on, or some members of the staff. And I
thought you meant all the teams on at the same time. There, I was like, what?
So if you are watching from any organisation, talk to us, set it up. We're quite happy to do whatever kind of pressy thing you want us to do. But we do want to talk to your players. We want to talk about the brand. We want to talk about what it means, how it's working at the moment, all this sort of stuff. It should be really good. And 12 episodes, we can get 12 out of it if we can get it done. I know we already. I was talking to one team. We'll see if that comes about. Right, I just need to fill in the last 3 of these, and we can move on from this topic. Who is everybody in the chat? Just put who their favourite player is.
I noticed the viewers have dissipated since we started this one. Oh my!
What to expect?
Right, I'm missing one. It's the. Oh, I think I've made my choice there. Then, is that?
Oh, somebody's coming up.
I'm changing it. There we go. Right, let's move on. Content.
Chicago gotta be like, bang! This is where their strength could be. Like, this brand actually could become something memorable if they do the content stuff right. They have a couple of videos out already, I think, on Envoy and Arcities. They've done some player profile kind of stuff. Good start. Yeah, I'm sure that Hex being behind the NRG stuff, like, he wants to build a competitive brand that can, like, basically ride what it used to be, right? And he's probably got I'm sure he's driven to do that. He's running things over there now. Like, they're gonna come up with some fire this season, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that coming down here. The worst. People put the Mutineers again. I think we're being very unfair on the Mutineers just for not doing enough. You're late, so therefore you get smashed.
I feel like people who are just out of the loop, like, I don't know to what degree the current Optic guys, like, especially with what we talked about with the Dashy Twitter clip, like, do the guys behind Optic actually
put them
know
last.
what's going on? Like, I don't know.
I'm having them last. They're going last.
Like, Mad Dog, okay, team.
Although, they did do the Mad Dog thing.
But, which is okay, and they did their whole announcement was good, but, like, do they understand how to attack this from a content direction, or is it just going to be the guys just streaming whenever they want? Is there an actual someone behind them as like a content manager that's going to direct things? Seems like there might be something like that, so I don't want to. It's not disastrous, but something to consider. It's not going to be what it was.
No, that's true. That is true. Trying to figure out these Atlanta FaZe. What do we think? Because there is a bit of a spread across there as well. You think FaZe would be really good at it, right?
You would.
I mean, you'd say FaZe would be good at content, but then again, at the moment, a topic in Twitter is about content that you shouldn't do.
Very true.
Difficult one, that one.
FaZe are in a weird spot. Their announcement videos they did were decent enough. They weren't spectacular though. Ravens have upped their game.
I'm putting the Ravens up.
I think
I'm putting the Ravens up. So don't get me wrong, it's not always my favorite stuff, but you've got to say they put out a decent amount of content. Like, they are constantly tweeting about stuff. They're trying to engage with their fans. I don't hate it.
And Padda's on their Twitter now. They've got a couple good social media managers. Like, that goes a long way. So that's good to see. They're not tweeting stupid stuff.
People, the LA Gorillas, people don't really connect with them by the look of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to expect much out of them given what we've seen from their Twitter stuff so far. Like, we haven't even seen the player's face in like any of the announcement videos.
Subliners? I was going to say, I put Minnesota quite high because all the stuff they put out before their announcement.
Yeah, Subliners is interesting.
Seems like middle of the pack. Common consensus seems middle of the pack.
Yeah, I don't know. Towards the end of maybe give them a couple months, I think they could be doing some good stuff. But I'm not convinced.
No, I can see that. I can see that. I think obviously, like this, bearing in mind this will change during the year.
Yeah, of course.
This is another one of those topics that, like, we're basing it on stuff that hasn't been announced. Like the Florida Mutineers are just getting smashed in every single one of these topics for no reason, apart from their actual branding. So
Yeah, which they did well. So
yeah,
there's potential.
there certainly is potential. All right, I'm missing one number. What number am I missing? 1, 2,
1, 2,
3, 4, 5.
10 you're looking for.
There we go. I guess that's where they go then. All right, let's move on. Who do we think will be the most winningest player of the year? I'm actually going to skip this one because I think it's the same question as the strongest
probably
roster.
strongest team. It's tough to say. And who even knows what
You're messing up my graphic.
Yeah, well, this is why you don't put terrible topics in.
Yeah, I told you them all at the beginning of the day.
And I told you they were terrible.
No, you did not.
I did say I didn't like the most chips one.
How many tournaments do we even have? There?
Well, that's a point, but I think it's different because you can say
how is it different?
The roster strength on paper, but then who do you actually think has the caliber to?
It's the same as roster strength. It's the same question.
It's difficult to get a differential there.
Well, let's just have a look at what the current results are. Compared to roster strength. Compared to roster strength, I mean, it's looking like Dallas first, Chicago second. Seattle second. Seattle's up on chips. Optic LA is down. Yeah. Okay. Right. I'll take that. I'll take
pretty similar, mate. But
there we go. Right. Let's move on. Best dressed. What is the best dressed team?
Best dressed gotta be New York for me. Like, let's have a look at this.
Didn't they all go out together and like?
We got Trey.
Trey does like his clothes, but I will say I do think Optic LA pretty solid.
It's not bad.
Who's the worst dressed team? Apparently they reckon Toronto Ultra's the worst dressed team. Why?
Can't it be? Nah, it can't be Toronto worst dressed. No chance. They got some Spanish lads, methods.
What is it with you and Spanish lads?
Nah. Spanish, they know what they're doing.
I think you just like saying Spanish lads.
Yeah, let Baker know he's in the chat. There you go. Optic LA is decent.
Optic Gaming, though, they have Cap. Does Cap still do the old sock sandal thing?
Oh, that's a fair point.
I'm marking it down, mate, if they do. Although it's a very common thing. I think Scraps does the same thing.
It's a comfort thing, I think.
Scraps rocks it, like...
I don't know.
Stress. I mean, honestly, Dallas Empire, right? You had Ilya in his bloody pajamas in the announcement video. Like, that was hilarious. So
yeah, I'm going to mark them right down.
Not convinced about that yet, to be honest. I'm not sure these boys have had any time to learn how to buy clothes.
I mean, do it for this one. We haven't really seen much of the official jerseys and stuff yet.
That's fair.
I think it's difficult for that one.
Thinking, no, not sure.
Chicago Huntsman.
Chicago could be decent. I don't know. Nah, I'm not convinced. Yeah, I think New York and Optic got to be up there for me.
I'm just thinking about all of who of them don't wear Yeezys.
Who of them don't wear Yeezys?
But still
have really pretentious. You're really good at this.
But still, like, wear some decent shit.
Seattle had 5 pairs of Yeezys in that picture they had with the.
I know. You see, I'm fully against the Yeezys because loads of them were wearing them for ages, and I'm just get past it, boys. Get past it. Some of them do. I think I put New York pretty high, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Let's
good going.
Let's move on from that one because it is a very subjective topic into the most important topic of today. The most important topic.
This is the big one, boys.
This is the big one. More important than everything else. More important than having the best roster or brand, or who's gonna win the most this year. This is the important one. Which team would you most like to have a beer with?
Whew. So let's have a think. I mean,
for me, there's an obvious one, and
there's an obvious one.
It may be because of a regional bias.
It might be that might be true. That was also the obvious pick. Honestly, Paris. Actually, it's got to be Paris. I hate to say
the Aussies, yeah.
Really disappointing that
still going to go with the London Ravens.
A likable team. Like, their branding is good. Their team is likable. They have the Aussies. They've got Zed on there. I really wanted there to be a London versus Paris, lock-in horns. It would be you could talk trash across the stage and all of this stuff if we had a London versus Paris match. But how am I meant to root against Paris? And they're sound lads as well. So yeah, Paris.
I like a lot of the subliners actually. I'm actually gonna change a vote I just put in. I like the subliners.
Yeah, it could be decent.
Yeah, I like Toronto. I like Toronto Ultra, but I wonder if that's biased because I just like a few like Marquee and bands and all that. Like, a few of them.
I got 2 Spaniards to be fair. So.
Oh my god, you and the Spaniards.
I'm taking. I just saw Baker in the chat say it again, so I'll just.
Optic LA.
Oh.
TJ Halley, Dashy, Kenny, Slasher, and JCap. JCap seems sound actually.
Slasher's actually really sound as well. I was talking to him in London.
Who's the worst team? We'll put the Mutineers because they don't exist.
Worst team.
The LA Gorillas. The LA Gorillas people are not entirely enthused about.
I'm not sure. Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota, we got Alex on that team, some Homeblood rep. Not sure about the rest of that. Face could be decent. Oh, I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Dallas Empire. Oh, I should have put them higher.
Is I don't know.
Clear definitely likes to get crazy.
Yeah. He'd be ever more than a beer, I think.
What are you implying?
2 beers. 2 beers.
Yeah, 2 beers, mate.
You mean a spirit?
1.5 beers.
All right. I think that's the most topic one. That's the most important one.
Yeah, that's the big one.
You're going through these far too quickly for me. Hold on. Because you deleted some stuff. I'm having to change stuff around.
Keep up some.
I'm going to tweet it out. Which CDL team would you most like to have a beer with?
These are results.
Who in the chat people thinking? We have Pixar, Crimsix, and Scump is more of a baddie.
Dallas on. I wouldn't know if I forgot about that. Had to be 21 in the States. Mad.
This is, I mean, you can drink in the States.
Bring them to the UK, yeah.
Outside of a bar, right? Like you can just have one at home. I don't know the American laws. I mean, 21 would have been over there.
You can buy one though. Like you wouldn't be able to walk into a store and buy one. I don't even think they have that thing where, like, if you're,
it doesn't matter for me. It's still London. It's still London.
Yeah, no, agreed. But like, because in the UK, if you're how old do you have to be if you're having like a meal? Then you can have like a pint of cider or something.
This is literally an episode of The In-Betweeners. This is.
We could tell.
We
could tell some stories of some members of the London team back in the day, but we don't want to get them fired.
The London team? Oh, right. Okay, now I've understand what you mean. Right.
Yep.
Never mind. Moving swiftly on, as I just remembered who was in that team. I still think London for me, but that's definitely like massive bias as well. The London team.
I mean, yeah, but like, what are you expecting?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the UK fans as well saying that there must be alcohol in the venue for the London Royal Ravens. If you're listening, that is the absolute priority. Nothing else you've done up until now counts.
Honestly, all that matters.
Yeah. If you don't have it like it was in things, rated bring down London rating, in my opinion. See, here's the thing. Like, I think it's maybe different for some of us who've been with these players for a while, like backstage and at events. Rated's like a super sound guy. He's just when he's on Twitter, obviously he's going to be very, very angry if he's after a win or a loss. But honestly, top guy to talk to. If you've ever seen, here's the funny thing: I always see Rated at an event just for a game, and he's like the most happiest, energetic guy you've ever seen. Like vibes with him are unreal. The problem is you only ever get to see like when he tweets out after winning, he's like, "Yeah, just got the job done. Next one." Yeah. But if he loses, he's like, "Oh, this is bullshit." Rah rah rah. Genuinely,
he's not a very good loser.
Guy. It's not even that. It's just like if you only see it from a social media point of view, obviously after losing he's going to be upset. But like personality-wise, as a person, really good guy. I mean, we spoke to him. Well, we spoke to him for like an hour after a Spitfire once.
Yeah, Riz is sound.
Yeah,
Riz is sound. Right. Okay, sorry. I'm filling stuff out. We said that this wouldn't be as stressful.
Well, it's on you.
It was a lie.
All right, I'm going to tweet out. If you're in here, we're about to announce the awards.
Are we?
Yeah.
That worries me greatly, Brycey.
Oh, let's actually have a look.
About to announce the Spitfire Awards. While we are waiting for the awards to get done, then let's have questions from the chat.
Yeah, actually, I'm just going to mute my mic and just do it because that's the thing. I keep chopping and changing, and trying to conversate,
Yeah,
but I
that's
don't
fair,
want
that's
to
fair.
spoil the recording. Also,
Yeah.
right, give me
Okay.
5 minutes, and I'll have
Questions from the chat while we let Ton
Questions
recover.
from the chat, boy.
Someone asked which has the better logos, the Overwatch League or the Call of Duty League.
Good question. I found the tweet from
That
Crone
whole-
had it. I'm not gonna lie. The first time I looked at it, I thought that the Overwatch League ones were better. But having looked back, I'm actually not 100% sure. You asked this before, Minor, and I said lighting, and the same remains true. Anyway, let's try and find the two sets of logos here. I had them somewhere. There we go. I mean, it's an interesting question. Like, actually, I don't know. The COD logos have grown on me a bit because
I'll be honest with you, I don't really dislike any of them.
Yeah,
I think it's on the aesthetic. Like, I'm not really.
I'm quite pleased on the whole. I don't think it's bad.
I didn't realize Paris Eternal's logo was a chicken. We'll ignore that. Let's move on to the questions from the chat here because that's a really big question. All right, how do I get my teeth as white as Rabs? I'm guessing just good oral hygiene.
Yeah, focus on.
Someone asked if we could vote for the largest penis. I don't think we're going to do that. I don't know. Do you think the game will be finished in time for the start of franchise season? Haven't they announced a big patch? They've announced a big patch for this.
Wait, what's the question you're answering? Do we think the game will be finished? Oh, yeah. I mean, they haven't announced a big patch. There was something that came out today where they said they were going to be doing some more tweaking, and there's the whole rumor that there's going to be a massive overhaul at the end of the month, before the end of the month. But that is just a rumor. So, I don't know. I'm open so. I think it will definitely be tweaked to the point where it's playable. But, like, there's a long way to go. But there's always a long way to go. So...
I think for me there is only a little few tweaks that really need doing. I know there's a lot of pros complaining about stuff, but this is all stuff that will happen. I like S&D on this game. I do wish there was a little bit change in some of the noise mechanics and stuff. But you got to remember, like things like the 75 claymores. Who gives a shit? We don't play with it anyway.
Yeah, I mean but the issue is with that is like that's obviously going to be the top priority for them to fix. So it's like
I don't think they're going to fix claymores.
Wrong. I mean. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Whatever they do on that side of things, that's obviously kind of irrelevant for competitive, but like the more issues there, the more time that's taking away from them starting to fix the issues that affect us, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll get to a decent spot. I think S&D is very, very close to being good. I think they need a few bomb site placement tweaks, just like we had an Infinite Warfare. I remember we had a load of things changing up on that game a little bit at the start. That needs to happen here for sure. Make S&D good. And then mostly Hardpoint, I would say, a lot of it is the spawns. But also like where teams spawn at the start and the way the hills are designed. Because I know that I've been watching sometimes that some of the break-offs are pretty, I think on Arklov Peak, there's one, like one of the sides is really heavily favored on the first hill. And they also get beneficial spawns on that side for the next hill.
Yeah.
And spawns are like impossible to flip. So like spawns are probably the main issue. But some of the maps I don't think will be that bad on the whole. I think the maps are getting.
I mean, it might be a little bit rough till we get the DLC maps in, but I don't think it's as bad. It's a bad state as people make out. I think competitively wise, we can fix it. Pubs obviously is a very different thing, but I'm not going to lie to you here. Black Ops, sorry, I just didn't play pubs. Played like the first week and then that was it. Never touched them. It was blackout or rank play. That was it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So Scrap says he's got a magic wang. He's got the clips to prove it. Actually, I think what Scrap says is he's got some serious talk in his hips, which I still think is one of the funniest things he's ever said on Twitter. What are the schedules like? I hear every week they go to each other's. I actually don't know. I don't think there's been anything officially announced.
Schedules.
I've heard a dozen different things, so I have no idea what the schedule.
They did announce that like every weekend they're going to be playing games in like different cities. They're just going to be as far as I understand it, they're going to be touring the league for like maybe 12 weekends in first stage, and then they have like a second stage as far as I understand. Like they have a mid-season playoffs and then an end of season playoffs, which effectively is champs as far as I understand it. So it's a bit interesting. Logistically, it's very strange, but I think that they are just touring the league around the world as far as I get it. And also I think that whatever the host team is that's there, they have the opportunity to put on like amateur open bracket stuff as well if they want, which won't be the case every week, but will quite often be the case.
You seem to know more about this than I do. Jesus, I know nothing. I literally know nothing. No one tells me shit.
If there was only someone who produced videos every day that could keep you in the loop.
Yeah. I mean, does that mean you've got internal people feeding? Are you the card burner?
Mate, you just got to know how to look. No.
Let's move on for the more questions here. People saying the map pool's really small. CDL team branding's best and worst. Smurfy, we just covered these. They're actually everything's being totaled up. Everything's being totaled up at the moment. Thoughts on Tom Syndicate?
Oh, mate.
So I know Tom. I know Tom, and I was surprised at his attitude on Twitter. And what really surprised me was him and Brain going at each other.
Yeah, they were loving it, mate. Let me find this tweet thread. It was good entertainment when I woke up this morning. Brain, how many N's has he got in his name? Oh, goodness sake.
Genuinely, like, mental. I honestly, like, I don't really get why he's like so. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't agree with Tom.
Mm-hmm.
He says just adapt and stuff, and I think there's like so many issues with it tonight. I was tempted to see if we could get him on. But because it's so subjective in the way he likes to play, I just didn't see any point of it. Because we also covered the esports side of it, right? His points about 725 and the Claymores, I mean, they don't mean anything. I don't agree with them in any way, shape, or form. I'm surprised he snapped. And obviously he went to the competitive people as well. Like he spoke about Octane and he spoke to Brain. And he's just saying, you know, I can adapt with it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I was like, you know what, Tom, if you're having a lot of fun, if you're genuinely enjoying it and you've played that much, fine. But
you just lost the plot though. Like,
I think it's disingenuous of him.
What am I reading here?
To say that this is not, that this is fine, and that because it is. I do think it's a majority of opinion saying we do want these tweaks to come in because it does change things. Like you can't run and gun as much as you want to. It's not a play style on this because you're either forced into crutch perks like EOD and spy and you know whatever the one to look through walls is. I can't remember. I haven't played that much pubs.
I wouldn't tell you.
So I don't know. Like it got wild because he started going at Brain saying, "Oh, bank accounts and all this sort of stuff."
Yeah, he just completely lost the plot. Like Niall's like, "You want a 5v5 CMG CDL rules? Get your clan tag mate to let's get it going. You could stream it too." Syndicate's like, "Oh, don't waste my time. You'd be as worthless as me." And then Brain replies with like that dodge thing with the seagulls and that. And then Tom said, "Oh, Syndicate goes, oh, sorry, who are you again?" And it's actually so interesting.
I don't know. Because I've met Tom a few times. I've done a lot of Call of Duty work with Tom, from various events to launches and stuff. And always a nice guy. He's always. Here's the thing. This is why it's weird because speaking of like, I used to obviously watch his zombie stuff back in the day, and then he moved on to like the Life of Tom stuff. But whenever I've seen him, and I don't know if he does this with everybody, but he's always made a point to come over and kind of shake my hand and, you know, say hello and how are you doing? And it's good to see you. Looking forward to working with you and all this sort of stuff. So, yeah, he probably was sourced.
Liar. He's a liar.
All right, let's get into the awards. Are you ready?
I am.
So you need to. How do I see these, Tom? What's the best way for me to see these?
Stream.
Brilliant. I can't wait for that. How far delayed are we?
A couple of seconds, so I'm going to transition.
Right, here we go. The first award is the roster strength. Jesus, I thought we were going to do it one at a time.
You can see that.
Oh, baby. Oh,
I can't see anything.
What's wrong with you? Of course you can see that.
Roster strength. First, Dallas Empire. Second, Chicago Huntsman. Third, Optic LA. Fourth, Atlanta FaZe. Fifth, Seattle Surge. New York Subliners. London Ravens. Minnesota Rocket. I don't know.
Rocket. Another 10 minutes.
10th, Toronto Ultra. The 11th, the Florida Mutineers. And the Paris Legion. People really don't like the Paris Legion. Florida haven't actually officially announced anything.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Branding. Let's just do the top three from each because I don't want to go through all and like maybe highlight the bottom ones.
The bottoms, yeah.
Branding. Dallas Empire first, Seattle Surge second, Florida Mutineers. This was bearing in mind if you are watching this on the VOD or whatever. This was all about who just the brand, just the name and the logo and the colors, and that is it. People don't like LA Guerrillas at all. People don't like Paris Legion. People actually don't like London Ravens came that low.
On what, sorry?
That surprises me. London Ravens are 10th.
On the
That is a
branding?
surprise. That is
I'll
a
tell you.
surprise.
Hold on. Have I still got the sheet up? And I'll tell you who
I didn't
voted
know
what.
that.
No. Don't throw these people out under the bus, mate.
We're not throwing anyone under the bus now.
No, we're throwing anyone under the bus. Otherwise, they'll never do it again, will they?
London first or bust. It's the
Yeah,
only two
Jesus.
choices.
All right, that's interesting. I mean, Dallas Empire has got a few firsts here from roster strength and branding. That's always
I will just say that Gorilla's above and beyond the worst by far.
Oh, really? What's the
Yeah.
difference like?
The closest they are is it's a Legion. Not okay. About 10 different points. So it's quite a chunk.
We'll have this out on Twitter as well as all these sorts of things. Most likely to appear with. Fair enough. Let's go to announcement then. Again, Dallas Empire. This time second, Chicago Huntsmen. People like their roster strength as well. And third, Minnesota. Obviously, the Florida Mutineers is kind of chalk because they haven't really finished theirs yet. 11th was the Ravens. I thought they redeemed themselves a little bit, but apparently not. I know they were higher on mine. Then we've got the Paris Legion. People weren't happy with Paris's either their announcement video, and then obviously all the rest are going to be in the middle there. It goes Optic, Ultra, Surge, Subliners, Gorillas, and then down to obviously the Legion. Interesting for that one. People did seem to like the Chicago announcement, and I'm guessing that's because of Hex.
Yeah, I don't know
Very
how
much-
they managed that. To be honest.
It was a very much. I think it was very much like a Hex video, though, wasn't it? Like about history and the family. So there was a lot of nostalgia, like he could draw on there, and put it through with the power of him. And I think he's a great guy for that. I am surprised. Again, London Ravens, I thought they redeemed themselves a little bit, but we'll see. Where are London Ravens in the roster? Middle of the table. Okay. Let's move on then. Physical prowess, very important award. Who is the team you think
most
is-
important.
If you were pinned under a weight, who is the strongest team for this? First, New York Subliners, and I'm feeling like this is the Doug Sensor Martin effect.
Yeah,
Just
It
having
has to
Doug on
be.
there. Just having Doug on there.
There is only one Call of Duty professional player that's sponsored by Gymshark, and that is Doug Sensor Martin.
Yeah,
So that,
until I get
there's the
mine.
answer. Until you
mine.
get yours, yes.
Second, Seattle Surge.
one on his back.
That's interesting. People think the Surge are stacked. Apathy, I'm guessing.
I think that's mostly up.
Yeah.
So it's got to be close. So
And the Seattle Surge, as I said, they've just like it's the sort of same with Crim. They've got like that old man strength.
Ignore me.
LA Gorillas in third. Lacefield Saints decimate Aqua and Aches. Interesting. Let's go for the bottom one. Atlanta FaZe have come 12th, even
Has
though the
to be.
Florida Mutineers haven't announced. But we can go off their rumors. Then 11th Florida Mutineers and 10th London Ravens. People not really ranking the strength of the Marshall brothers.
Nah, did you not see the video of Scraps trying to go on the bloody the bike the other week? I know it's not
No?
to do with
What?
strength.
What?
I'm sure there was one there. He was like, was he not? I think him and Crim were taking the piss, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get back on the bike and stuff like this." I don't think he actually recorded a video of it, but he was baiting about it. But that's never gonna happen, is it?
I was going to say, there's two Seattle Surge on there. I don't even know where Minnesota are. Don't know where Minnesota are going to be.
Where's this one?
Baker called it out.
Okay, so Minnesota should have been
Prowess.
7th. Yeah, okay, I
Should have been somewhere, yeah. Nah, it's all good, mate. Forgivable.
What has he done?
Like on physical prowess, Seattle had second and 7th.
Wow.
all right.
I mean, that's a strong
probably.
team.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Minnesota are 7th then?
Yeah, I'm sorting it.
Oh no, they've got Silly. Like Silly and Goddard X are on that. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
I
Seattle
mean-
Surge. Is that supposed to be them?
Just to be clear for the chat here, there's a lot of people involved in making these rankings. So
Yeah, it's not just us.
It's not just us. So if someone,
Sorry, let's have a look. Strongest.
No.
So I had. What was the contestant where Seattle are?
yeah, so we had strongest.
So it should be Minnesota 7th.
Yeah, it should be Minnesota 7th.
Yeah,
I thought they'd be higher than that. Jesus, people.
Yeah,
are
honestly, it was really close.
I know, but like
People are wrong.
who else apart from Silly though?
Goddard X. We literally saw him bench
Oh,
2
well,
days
yeah,
ago.
okay. Yeah, okay.
Brody and Big
It's
Andy
not easy. It's not easy to bench up 225.
struggled.
All right, let's go to content. Who's got the best content? Chicago Huntsman in first. Not a surprise. Dallas Empire second. Again, announcements and stuff. And third, Optic LA. That's higher than I thought. I'll be honest with you. I knocked them down simply because of that tweet.
Yeah.
Tweet irritated everybody in the community.
Yeah,
Everybody.
I think it's a potential though. We think they could. It might be that.
I think so. And the worst, the Florida Mutineers, because they haven't done anything. The LA Gorillas, people don't like their content. Didn't they only start like finishing their announcements a few days ago, or start their announcements a few days ago?
I think so.
And then Paris Legion, people aren't happy with the announcement videos and stuff, content that's coming out. But there is a reason for that that I can't really go into. All right, fair enough. Let's move on to best dressed team, the New York Subliners. I think that shopping trip helped them on this.
It was all because of the shopping trip.
Yeah,
I think, yeah. I don't know why Toronto are so low. I think it's such a hard thing, though, isn't it? It's like you sort of know who you're definitely going to put up there, but then it's a case of where do we go from there?
Yeah, it really is. Let's move on then. Best dressed. I mean, Gorillas and Ravens don't really like it. Of course, Mutineers don't.
Oh yeah, okay. I did have a point on best dressed, right? So I've definitely seen Scraps buying like Chanel trainers, nice gear, and I see him walk around in like just sweatshorts. Like, Matty, he does everything right.
You tell me, Tom, what you think the what they should be dressed in then. What they should be dressed in.
He can get himself a nicer pair of shorts. He's walking around with Chanel trainers, a Manchester United top, and a pair of Nike shorts. He's got all the money in the world, mate. Come on. I know it. The thing is, I know he could up his game just on a regular basis. But I have seen him absolutely dripping in Gucci on occasions. It has to be said. And when I say dripping, I mean dripping. it like 2 bags, 2 different like fanny packs at the same time. So I don't know if that's maybe why he's so low, or maybe why they're a bit higher than potentially could have been. But it's a hard one. I think the Subliners was all but secured. I think Optic LA, them two is undoubted. But you know, I think it's a hard one. It is a hard one. I think we're ready to move on to most likely share a beer with, Bryce.
Best topic of it. Let's have a little look. Most likely to share a beer with.
Of course.
London Ravens in first. Second, Chicago Huntsmen. And the third, the Dallas Empire. The Florida Mutineers obviously coming in 12th because they don't exist.
You see, I think Atlanta Face should have been lower down because I don't think any of them are legal to drink at this point.
Yeah, that is.
Toronto Ultra. What, really? People don't like the Ultra Star? That's wrong. I mean, they've got Marky B.
I know
That automatically puts you higher.
Yeah, there is no denying that.
Madness. Absolute madness. Minnesota people aren't happy with either. 9th. I don't know. I think a lot of my fellow voters are wrong. Best looking team. First, Seattle Surge. Second, Optic LA. Third, Atlanta FaZe. Interesting. Lowest, LA Gorillas. Chicago Huntsmen. Dallas Empire. People don't think the Dallas Empire is good looking. I would have put them maybe a bit higher.
Who do you think's fit on Dallas Empire, Brycey?
All of them. Honestly, I think you know. There's like Krim has that smouldering intensity.
Smouldering intensity, yeah.
He has a smouldering intensity that never turns off.
Oh well, okay.
Oh,
this is what it's come to.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
This is what
we gave it a try, and to be honest with you, on the positive side, we get to do real awards at the end of the season. So
yes, we will. We'll come back to this. Maybe reflect.
Well, we can keep some of these. I don't think like physical prowess will change unless the team gets like super buff during the year. But I mean, some of these were like. Here's the ones we can recover. Right, roster strength, content, branding, maybe physical prowess. Maybe we could go back to that one. Most likely to share a beer with. Could do.
I would like to see if Doug ever gets dropped from that team, how far New York slide down.
New York just hits 12th instantly, just absolutely bombs. But there we go. I think that's everything we need for this one.
We've tweeted it out as well.
Oh, nice.
I've done you a favor, Tan. I've gone in the spreadsheet and ranked them all based on like the average of all these results, so we can see the overall.
I was going to do that, but it was. We weren't sure if we wanted to say who the overall best.
No, I think the overall is a little bit.
Hold on, let me reopen the sheet because I definitely closed it as soon as I got this done because I was sick of staring at it.
We've actually got a tied for third place. So we've got
Oh,
two
well, in
people
totals?
podium in third. Yeah, so we've got 2 people sharing the bronze overall, and then we've got a second place and a first place.
Right.
Right, go
Who
on.
does the chat think is going to be first place out of all the topics?
I mean, you could just,
Yeah,
We can
it's
bring this
easy
back to
then.
face cam, by the way.
could just look.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
we
bring it back.
could
We'll
do.
bring it back. So, Bryce, have you got the sheet open or not?
This is the big deal.
No, I don't have it open.
Okay.
What did you tell me?
So me and Rab, I'll
Yeah.
come out. Let's go with the least favorite team first. I think Rab. In number 12 is the Florida Unions because they haven't actually announced the team yet. Even though we do know the rumored team, and I think that had it been announced and everyone was definitely sure that this was the team, even though it's pretty sure that this is the team, then maybe we would have been 100% secure.
Yeah.
In 11th, the LA Gorillas across the board on an average. Nobody wants a beer. Everyone thinks they're ugly.
Oh, wow. Sorry, what team again did you say that was?
The LA Gorillas, apparently.
The LA Gorillas. Nobody likes them.
The only
they're-
one that
they're
they placed
ugly.
high in was strongest. And even then,
Even then, it's not like, devastating news. Yeah.
I can't believe.
in at number 10 was Paris Legion. Number 9 was Toronto Ultra. Ravens in at number 8 overall. 7th was Atlanta FaZe.
Okay.
Middle of the pack.
6th was Minnesota Rocker. We got a tie for 3rd.
Then we got, well, so 5th was Optic LA, just missed out on the podium.
It's a joint podium
Podium.
in total between Seattle Surge and New York Subliners.
Ooh.
In your silver medal position
Huntsman?
will be the
Drum
Chicago
roll.
Huntsmen. And
I mean,
the,
Dallas Empire first.
and the
yeah.
overall winner of the Spitfire CDL franchise and preseason awards is the Dallas Empire.
Come on.
There we go.
Into the
There
good
we go.
man.
The chat goes wild.
That goes wild. All right.
That's all
Well,
gone to bed.
after trying out something new, we got to the end of it, and
And realised we're never doing that again.
yeah, I think it went okay. It could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah, I think next time we need to find topics which everyone's happy with, which everyone tells me they're happy with.
Wow. I'm just
It doesn't
saying,
and doesn't just say at the 11th hour.
All right, let's wrap this up. Anything else to add there, Ab?
I don't think so. Just having me on again. Anytime. Yeah, it was good. I want to see how these progress through the season. I'm intrigued to know because it's so tough to say right now. Like, and especially the content question's a big one because I think people in the chat saying like, "Oh, Toronto could be up there." Like, who knows? People can step up their game so quick.
Yeah.
A month ago, we'd have
Pre-season,
said that
isn't it?
Ravens were like, "Ugh." But now, okay, got some social media guys on board. People are like, "Okay, yeah, content, it's getting there." Yeah, exciting times ahead.
Thanks for that, Ton.
Nothing too much. Apologies for the lateness of the graphics and whatnot. But as I said, we'll tweet it out. Let us know what you think of the results. I'm sure that the pros will probably latch onto this at some point and get really mad at some of them,
When they wake up.
which will yeah, that's true. Which will be truly impressive. But yeah, so for anybody who is listening as well, you can check it on the EGL Twitter if you want to remind yourself, of course, for everybody who's just listening. But other than that, nothing in particular. We'll be back with a normal show next week, I think. We're going to be running it all the way up till Christmas at this point.
Cool.
Yeah.
As said-
to live stream Tom's wedding.
As said, number 50 is supposed to be the same day that my wedding's on. So,
I think I should be allowed to live stream it.
no, it's not a Spitfire episode if you're just live streaming my wedding, pal.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, all right. That is going to do it for Spitfire. Of course, feel free to check us out on the YouTube, the VOD. We had loads of comments last week on YouTube, by the way. Thank you very
We
much
did.
for that. We did appreciate it. Also, you can check us out on Spotify and iTunes. This has been an award show. We tried it out. We saw how it would go. We've got a few more ideas of what to make better here. So we got this one out of the way for the end of the season, which I'm hoping to have a few more kind of big kind of panels in to get the ones going. So this is already your announcement. In 9 months or 8 months or 10 months or whenever the off season is, there will be a post-season award show. But thank you all so much for watching. Gonna live stream Tun's wedding. We'll see you soon.